The International Business Times broke a big story here that shed some light on why Attorney General Jeff Sessions is reversing an Obama-era rule to move away from private prisons. So they explain here, one of the largest companies behind for-profit prisons, GEO Group, donated at least $100,000 to a super PAC in support of President Donald Trump. GEO and Corrections Corporation of America, another major for-profit prison company, have also given more than $1.6 million to the Republican Governors Association, which bankrolled Vice President Mike Pence's gubernatorial campaigns in Indiana. So we discussed this the other day when the news first broke, and, my commentary was mostly on the fact that private prisons are a disaster and we shouldn't have them and nobody should have them because there's a giant incentive problem. And basically, to sum that up, when you are locking people up for profit, then the private prison lobbyists are going to go give more money to the politicians and try to get them to make more things illegal because it gets down to the green, and they say, okay, well, we make more money by locking more people up, so let's make more things illegal, or let's have, stronger punishments, longer sentences for crimes that probably don't deserve it. So, for example, the 3-strike law in California, that was lobbied for by private prisons. So it's just a horrible incentive structure, and you're creating a society where people want to lock other people up because they make money off doing it. So it's not that hard to see the incentive problem with it. Now, at the time, I had mentioned, here's the thing. Former staffers of Jeff Sessions actually now work as private prison lobbyists, and others are close with the industry. So I had hinted that, well, maybe there's some fuckery going on behind the scenes that makes it so that Jeff Sessions is doing the bidding of the private prison industry. Well, now we have the specifics. So now we know they donated, the GEO Group, one of the biggest private prison corporations, donated $100,000 to Trump's super PAC. Of course, Trump picked Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions then turns around and does the bidding of the industries that donated to Trump. And then $1.6 million to the Republican Governors Association, and they largely bankrolled Mike Pence's gubernatorial campaigns in Indiana. So this is an important story because it shows you how the sausage is made. And the media will never tell you this because they wouldn't want to impugn the integrity of distinguished gentlemen that are our politicians. But this is politics in America. So you're not having a debate or a discussion of competing philosophies where one person says, I am a principled liberal, and let me explain to you my philosophy. And the other person says, well, I am a principled conservative or libertarian. Let me explain to you my philosophy. And then it's a high-minded discussion about where they disagree in how to run a society and a civilization. That's not what happens. What happens is, because we have this cancer, this virus that is money in politics, you just have people who get elected who are puppets. And they're competing as to who gets power to represent their special interests this time around. And, usually with the Democrats, you're dealing with lawyers who bankroll them, unions who bankroll them. For a while now, it's also been Wall Street. So they have their special interests and the people they look out for. And then on the flip side, you have the Republicans. It's Wall Street. It's big oil. It's now, private prison companies. So this is how politics works, man. And then what's amazing is, again, the media is so terrible at their job that they can't explain this. So people are angry at the system and they can't fully articulate why it is. But understand, it makes perfect sense when you look at all the evidence because you can elect Congress. I bring up this fact all the time because it blows my mind. And then a month later, you come back after you elected a brand new Congress and they have like a 9% approval rating, 20% at most. Now, think about that. How can that be? You just picked them. In any other context, does that make sense? So you just bought a new car, and a month later, somebody asks you, hey, do you like your new car? What are you going to say? It's a month later. We've only had it for a month. You're going to be like, of course, I just bought it. I love this thing. I love the color. I love the leather seats. I love this. I love that. It's always the opposite in politics. So that shows you the system is broken. There's something fundamentally wrong in the system. And we know what it is. People who follow this stuff closely know what it is. There was a study, a political science study that came out of Princeton, which tracked opinion polls and the legislation we end up getting into law. And they found that the U.S. is effectively an oligarchy. It's no longer a democracy. That's amazing. Because what happens is you have the people not getting what they want, and the only time that there's really a link between what people want and what they get is when it's the elite class. So it's a broken system, and this is a clear example of it right here. And it just reminds me that, you know, it's going to continue to be this bad until we have fundamental systemic change. Now, the Justice Democrats are trying to bring that about, which is what we're fighting for. But you also need change in the media, and that's what we're trying to do with new media. And hopefully it shines some light on what's really going on here, and we can all try to fix it and make it better, because it's hard to imagine going on like this, man. I mean, there was a report from yesterday, there was some polling data that was released yesterday, where apparently the American people say the media is too hard on Trump. And you're probably thinking, wait, what? That's crazy. Isn't it the opposite? No, but what they're pointing out is the way the media covers Trump today, it's all, keep it real, PC outrage. They did like a week straight of coverage about Trump cursing. The Republicans in the primary even ran an ad where they had him using naughty language. And this is the stuff they go after Trump for. It's an endless parade of outrage on shit that doesn't matter. They spend time on, Hookergate, which was the story about how we are speculating that Vladimir Putin has a videotape of hookers peeing on Donald Trump or something. They ran with that. And then, Trump comes out there and screams fake news, and on that front, he's partially right, because that's not a real story. It's not verified. And then people at home go, okay, we get it. You don't like Trump. You broke the outrage meter. But then here's the maddening part about it. When there's actually a cause for outrage, like on this story, they're nowhere to be found. Why? Because this isn't sensationalistic. Other stories, it's sensationalistic. What did Trump and Kanye say together? I can't believe Kanye West met with Trump. Oh my God, that's amazing. This is crazy. Let's talk about this for 3 days straight, which is what they did. Now, meanwhile, at the same time, that's when he picked Jeff Sessions, when that whole fiasco was going on, and it got not that much coverage. Kanye got more coverage than Jeff Sessions. It's a trick. He's playing you. He baits you into outrage over things that you shouldn't be outraged about, and then people at home roll their eyes and go, we get it, you don't like Trump. So the real stories are buried, and sometimes they don't even cover the real stories. I dare you to go on CNN today and see if you could find, on TV, on their TV coverage, any serious discussion about this. Now, maybe there will be a footnote here or there, private prisons, yada, yada, donations. Anyway, moving on. But to them, this is part of the system, and they file this under the duh category. They file this under the can't get mad about category. And that's also because of who they hire. They hire people who aren't that bright, who aren't going to rock the boat and point out the systemic flaws. That's why I got Wolf Blitzer on CNN. That's why I got Don Lemon. I mean, Don Lemon kicked somebody off his show the other day for saying the words fake news. Oh, how strong you are. Yeah, it's not going to get regular people on your side. They're going to look at you as a whiny little asshole who couldn't deal with somebody saying something on the show that you didn't like. That's not real news. This is real news. This is, oh my God, you had your Attorney General effectively took hundreds of thousands of dollars from private prisons. You took a super PAC affiliated with you took $100,000, and then you do their bidding. That's the real scandal. Cover the real scandal. But they're not gonna. They're not gonna. And then eventually, you're gonna get to the point where Trump is in a decent spot to win re-election. Now, people will call that crazy, because in their little bubble, it's Trump's so stupid. Yeah, but when the Democrats are fully embracing corporatism, they just put Tom Perez as the head of the DNC. He's pro-TPP. So the Democrats are doubling down on the strategy that already lost to Trump. And the media is not there to combat him in an effective way where they talk about the real issues. Well, that's a toxic mix, man. It really is. So this is where we're at today in America. And these are the real scandals to discuss. And Very few people are talking about them, and it's really pathetic.